Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We're at 15180 Southwest Harveys View Avenue here in Tigard. We are located to the right of the front door. That's as you face the front of the home from the street. That's how I describe everything. We're dropping into a 4-inch ABS cleanout here. There's two cleanouts adjacent to each other. The larger of the two is your sewer line. The other one's going to be your storm system. Anyway, we're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water is running. We're going to zero out here at the base of the cleanout. And off we go. Hard dive right out of the gate here. No, they didn't belly it out. That is a mark of a proper installer right there. Just transitioned over to 4-inch 3034. My camera has been upside down for a bit of this. That's why the water line's overhead, in case you're wondering. But magnificently clean sewer line, and it's a very rare line that does that nosedive configuration and does not end up with a belly or an offset at the bottom of it. Most installers usually monkey that up to some extent. So I'll get into a little bit of standing water out here. Looks like towards the end of the line. We'll see how this spot looks when it drains out. There is some debris in the flow line right now that may be partially responsible for some of that standing water. We'll do some toilet flushes to try and clear this gunk out. Anyway, that right there is a good example of why you don't want to ball your toilet paper. Balled toilet paper does not travel properly through a sewer line. It's hard to control when you have kids in the house, but that's exactly why you don't want to ball it up. Anyway, that'll move on its way. It's not concerning. There's not enough of it to be a problem, but just wanted to point that out. So we're at the main here at 47 feet. We're going to go locate that really quick here while the line drains off, and then we'll have a better look at things as we come back in. Alrighty, located the camera head successfully. Line terminates out on Southwest Harveys View. If you go and stand out in the street to the right of the driveway, facing the front of the home, just to the right of the driveway, you're going to see an S stamped in the curb. That S stands for sewer. That's right where the sewer line crosses the curb, or very near it anyway, into the road. And then further down the hill from that, you'll see a D. That's your storm drain. That's where that one crosses into the road. Now that piece of toilet paper might still be, that's the hard part with the cameras in the line. Yeah, it is moving on its way though. That's what was stopping that water up. Did a couple toilet flushes to try and, I'm at least just trying to clear a pathway around it so the water can drain off. Off it goes. Alright, we've got a little trickling off here still, but we're just about drained out completely now. Oh, we still have, I was wondering where that water was coming from. There is still some gunk in the line. See you later, toilet paper. Anyway, what's left over there will move on its way. That's just toilet paper. And contrary to what you would think, it is very, very normal for debris to stop up partway down line. Ideally, it doesn't, but the overwhelming, I mean, probably 95% of sewer lines, solids will only make it partway down line from each toilet flush. Oh, some of that stuff almost looks like it's coming from back inside the house. I could swear this was not quite this thick when we first ran through here. And I guess it might have been that big originally, but... So you do have a teeny... Yeah, no, it looks... I think there's stuff coming from... Alright, we're going to pull the camera back here a little bit. I'm going to do a couple toilet flushes. I think some of this stuff is coming from inside the home. All right, just did about 4 toilet flushes there. Help clear some stuff out. It looks like you got the tail end of a little belly here at 41 feet. It almost looks like cat litter went down the line. And that right there is really why that debris stopped up. There is kind of an odd textured debris in the flow line there. It almost looks like cat litter or sand went down the line. In fact, it's possible you may not even have any standing water there at all. You just have a bunch of gunk in the pipe. But that, at the end of the day, is what caused that stuff to stop up there. The standing water, after doing 25,000 scopes and thousands of drain cleanings, a belly, oops, I need to find the start of that. If there is a belly here at all, by the time, if you clean this out, for instance, which I'm going to probably recommend because it is stopping debris up. It has far more to do with whatever's in the flow line there. Runs for about 36 to 41 feet. You've got maybe 1/16 to 1/4 inch of water there. That is a belly I would never in a million years recommend a repair on. But if improper stuff goes down the line, like litter or something like that, that stuff is not intended to go down the line. It's going to hang up in any level of standing water. And then you finish the job by flushing a whole bunch of giant balls of toilet paper. Those balled up pieces of toilet paper on their own can cause a blockage. You can see how much it took to get those things to break loose in a line that is essentially perfectly great and has a lot of downhill velocity working in its favor. So anyway, I'll recommend cleaning. The amount of buildup you have in the line there is really not terribly significant, at least generally speaking, compared to what I'm usually recommend cleanings on. But it did cause some stuff to hang up there. It's just, in a case like this, I think it's very much a combination of you had some stuff in the line there combined with a bunch of really large wads of toilet paper going down the line. And in my experience, honestly, it is often a conjunction of issues that often leads to a blockage. Yeah. But the belly, if there is any standing water there, it's a 4-foot section of pipe with probably a 1/16 to 1/4 inch of water, which is extraordinarily minor. Generally, most things will shoot through a belly like that like it's not even there. That's how small it is. All right, now we're back to the foundation wall at this point. Everything from this point on is exposed plumbing. That stuff the home inspector can crawl right up to and look at. Let's give a little scrap of toilet paper sitting there on the pipe walls, all that is. Anyway, the line itself here all appears in good shape. You may, all said and done, have a very, very minor belly. It's, again, nothing to fix, but I am going to recommend cleaning, mostly because clearly whatever conjunction of things, and especially if there's kids in the household, kids like to ball up toilet paper. I just don't want to see that stopping anything up out there, so recommend cleaning on it and a rescope just to show that it was done. I'm not sure what that stuff is, but it has a grainy texture, kind of like cat litter, which I've seen go down lines plenty of times. The other thing too, I've seen people empty out lizard or fish aquariums down toilets that have sand in them, stuff like that. Stuff of that nature will hang out there. If you blend up a whole bunch of eggshells, for instance, which you do not want to put down your disposal, by the way, they're terrible. When eggshells hit even a 32nd to a 1/4 inch of standing water, you can run the most powerful jetter through the line on earth. It'll clean everything out of the line except for the eggshell. So there are certain things you just want to avoid from going down the line. They tend to settle into what is typically a extremely minor low spot like that. So that's about it. Clean it, rescope it. Otherwise, the line's in good shape. And as it currently sits, the line is still functioning, but that area there is a little higher risk spot as it sits. It clearly caused some stuff to hang up in the line.